Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch more craziness. We're all gonna die. The world is ending. It's the most horrible thing in the world. We have the first case now in the United States. Oh my goodness. Are you shaking in fear yet? I thought you probably would be. I know I was when I saw it, that they had the first confirmed case today in California. I just went into a panic. I mean, I just started sweating and shaking and I just, for I don't know how long, tears were running down my face and I don't know how long I felt like I was out of it. I couldn't function. And I just had to make a bunch of TikTok videos because apparently that's what you do now when you're in that state. No, honestly and seriously, yes. First case in California. Big deal. We've been expecting this. I'm surprised it took them this long to say something. Who cares? According to everything that I've seen come out of South Africa, where this supposedly has originated, is that it's much, much weaker than what's been going around already, which, if that's true, it would amazingly fit with almost exactly what viruses do over time. They tend to, as they mutate and stuff, become weaker and weaker. Maybe not every one of them, but the majority of them, especially ones that causes colds and stuff. And that's why the common cold is so common and not really feared at all anymore. Other things that probably are a lot more important is what's going on with the economy, the markets, the inflation, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. Before I get started, I just want to mention, I know times are getting tough and tight for people. Some of you doing holidays, but as you're also prepping, if you're looking for some of the very best emergency long-term food stuff, you know, shelf-stable things that you can just put on your shelf and leave for 20, 30 years and not really worry about it. It's really easy. It's full cooked meals. You just use hot water to you know, get it going and heat it up and make it work. And that's the stuff that you can get over at preparedwithtravis.com. I've teamed up with my Patriot Supply. They're one of the industry leaders in emergency freeze-dried food. You can buy it in bags, you can buy it in buckets, you can buy it in, you know, number 10 cans. There's all kinds of options and a lot of different, you know, flavors and stuff like that. It's not the only thing you should be prepping. In fact, it's probably not the highest priority. You should be prepping other stuff, you know, dried goods, canned goods, things that you can get for a lot less money. This is certainly more expensive, but it does have a place in prepping. And if you're interested in that, like I said, go over to preparewithtravis.com, and they're running some pretty good specials right now, considering inflation, considering the increase of food prices everywhere. You know, they're trying to keep the prices as low as possible, considering all of that. So they're pretty good prices considering the you know, increase in prices in food. So anyways, I just thought I'd mention that to you. Speaking of inflation, the Fed chairman, I know, he came out and he admitted, it just caught us all off guard. I never thought that this was the case. It just blew me away. Did you know that all this inflation that we have, it's not temporary inflation, it's not transitionary inflation, it's real inflation? All this time when the Fed and this Treasury and everyone else has been saying, oh, it's just transitionary inflation, it's nothing to worry about, stop getting so worked up over, it's just transitionary. And then now the Fed chairman comes out and says, oh, well, we should retire that word transitionary because, well, it's not really transitionary anymore. This is much longer term than what we thought. It's going to last a lot longer. Like any of us didn't already know that. The markets aren't that great right now. I mean, they're going up a little, but then they're coming down. I personally don't even care anymore. I used to play with the markets and don't anymore. And the reason is because I've got more important things to put my money into right now. And although the markets don't dictate the, you know, or aren't necessarily a reflection of the economy, there certainly can be something to look at, and more experts in the stock market are coming out and saying that we've probably seen the peak of the bubble. Like, the peak of the bubble is probably in the past, and from this point on, it's either going to fall off the cliff or it's just going to keep rolling down the hill. That remains to be seen. You know, that's been one of the only things that the left has been able to say through all the stuff that's gone on, the lockdowns, the inflation, the supply chain problems, is that, well, at least the stock market, we've had, you know, 1 billion record days on the stock market in the last year. And I'm curious to know what is going to be their silver lining in the cloud when that isn't the case any longer. We are seeing ever increasing inflation. And when you look at that the Fed chairman has now admitted that the supply chain is certainly not getting any better, that food is becoming more and more difficult, okay? Not necessarily to the point of complete starvation and famine levels, but when you look at it on a global level, and you look at the areas that are starting to have difficulty in planting crops, or the outlook looks pretty grim because of inflation, because of weather, all the different things, you know, grand solar minimum going on, it doesn't look very good over the next year. 2022 isn't really lining up so far to be a good-looking year. Okay, you've got the United States, or the European Union president come out today and said that he's in favor of a mandate. Okay, a lot of the countries in Europe are already mandating. Look at this. Look at this video. I'm just going to have this playing probably somewhere over here, and I believe this is in France. And these people are in a restaurant, and these are law enforcement officers, police. And they're just going in and they're randomly checking people. They have to give their little phone, because their little passport thingy that remember like a year and a half ago, everyone was like, you're a bunch of conspiracy nut jobs. There's not going to do some kind of, this passport. That's not going to happen. You're a bunch of crazy. Go put your little tinfoil hat back on and go in the corner. Well, guess what? Lots of places have this now. And it's an app on your phone, has a little QR code, has all your information on it, and they have to scan it and make sure that you're up to date. It has all your details, okay? It's your papers, right? And in that video, it's law enforcement going in and just randomly checking. There's other video, I can't remember where it's at, and these are people walking into a McDonald's. It's over in Europe, and they're walking into a McDonald's. And they are, they're having to scan everything and make sure and test them, the temperature and all this kind of stuff. Like they're walking into Fort Knox to, or they're going to see the Queen or something like that. And they're just going in to get a nasty, cheap, unhealthy hamburger. And then Australia, I mean, it's not getting any better there. They're putting people more and more into these camps, quarantine camps, which was another thing. Like a year and a half ago, that everyone was like, you bunch of crazy nut job conspiracy theorists. They're not going to start rounding people up and putting them in quarantine camps. I mean, what kind of crazy nut are you? Well, guess what? Australia has built several of them, and they're not the only country that's built them, and they're using them a lot. In fact, it was in their local news that 3 people escaped quarantine. And it was like a manhunt for the worst serial killer ever, the way they were reporting this. Police were shutting down roads. They were all over. They were stopping vehicles, going door to door, checking, trying to find these 3 people that escaped quarantine camp. The quarantine camps where they put you because you don't have this, or because you test positive, or because you traveled, or whatever.
Darwin, where 3 people have escaped from the Howard Springs COVID quarantine facility. Talia Sava's there for us. Talia, good morning. There's a search underway right now.
Yes, that's right, Davina. Good morning to you. We've been told the trio scaled the fence in the early hours of this morning. Police receiving reports around 4:40 a.m. Now, major police checkpoints have been set up around Howard Springs for the past several hours. As you can see in these pictures, they've been conducting thorough searches in car boots, checking vehicle registrations, cars and buses alike. But in the last half an hour, what we understand is they've actually been dismantled. Exactly why, that hasn't been confirmed. Hopefully good news. We're also not sure yet who these people are connected with, whether it's a repatriation flight or those Aboriginal community members who have been staying here following the Catherine cluster.
Well, they finally found them and they tested them, and guess what? Tests come back negative. But how much did it disrupt their life? And are they going to be charged with anything? Probably. Lots of places in Europe, I saw that, I think Greece has mandated it for everyone over 60 years old. And anyone that's over 60 and doesn't get this thing, they're now going to be charged 100 euros a month indefinitely. That's the fine. Now, I don't know all the details of what goes on in Europe and especially Greece, but I do know that seniors over there, they struggle with the same things, a lot of them, that do here, and that's retirement and money when they get older. How many seniors in America could handle $100, $150 a month fine for the rest of their life every month? That's a lot. I could go on. And here's the thing. Everything that I've told you so far in this video has happened just in the last few days. We're not talking about stuff that happened weeks and weeks ago. This is just in the last few days, really in the last few hours, 24, 36, 48, 72 hours. And I'm just scratching the surface, folks. So if you're out there and you think still, you crazy conspiracy theorist, you're just nuts. Go put your little tinfoil hat on and go sit in the corner. I don't know what to tell you anymore. I mean, you know, for those of you that are still trying to get ready, for those of you that believe that, you know, you can still do it if you push yourself and get ready, kind of like what I was talking about in yesterday's video, that's great and that's fine, and I'll do anything I can to help you. Now, I'm one man and I feel stretched thin, but I'd still help you. But for those of you that just sit back and I don't know what to do for you. I mean, you know, how are we supposed to react when they come knocking at our door because they're starving or because things are bad and they know, well, we were wrong, but you know, Bob down the street, we know he was prepared. He was preaching at us for years, telling us to get ready, and now things are horrible. You know, the bottom's falling out, the big one's gone up, so let's go down to his place. I consider myself a tolerant and giving and forgiving man, but I do think that I have limits, and that's probably not going to happen for me. So, folks, I don't know how you can see all this stuff going on a daily basis, see the increase in violence, see the constant problems, the distractions, you know, all these court cases going on, one's being, you know, in your face, the other one's behind closed doors, and both of them are distractions, and both of the stuff going on, it's a bunch of distractions. You know, it's more and more stuff. We've got wars brewing up. You know, now we're saying that we have confirmed, you know, solid intelligence that Russia is getting ready to invade. You know, we've got China and Taiwan still, you know, over there threatening. And, of course, Israel and Iran. Israel is on the verge of, you know, stopping Iran because they're pushing forward in their nuclear program, and they're just not going to have that. And all the while here in the United States, people are trying to get ready for their holiday celebrations, or their kids coming home, or the winter's coming in and it's getting cold. And they don't know if they're going to be able to pay for their mortgage, their rent, their utilities, their food bill, their medical bills. And even if they have the money for it, they don't know what's going to necessarily be available, with shortages and slowdowns in the supply chain, and having to wait for weeks and weeks just to get medicines refilled or to get parts to fix something. And there's still people sitting around saying that this is okay, that this is normal, or that this is good. It's good because it transitions us into a new utopian future. It's resetting our system. And yeah, we have to go through a rough patch for a while to reset everything, but it's good because it gets rid of all the people that aren't as enlightened as they are. You know, it in their minds, it's culling the herd because they only want this, you know, ridiculous, enlightened, you know, tolerant, no rules, no morals, you know, whatever goes people. And anyone that's, well, doesn't believe that, we're just old boomers and out of touch and don't have a right to live in society. They think this is great. And I'm telling you, it's not gonna end anytime too soon. I don't see how it could. There's no sign that we've hit a plateau. I said this in a video, I don't know, 2 or 3 months ago, I believe. Typically, whether it's natural disasters, whether it's, you know, health crises, global, you know, that kind of stuff, whatever it is, economic, anything throughout history, you can chart it, and you can see that where it starts to hit a peak, and you know that it's hit a peak because it's starting to trickle down. That's not happening. I mean, we've been in this game for a couple of years now, and there's no sign at all that we've peaked and things are starting to come back down on the normal side. And it's because it's probably never going to happen. This isn't some kind of mountain thing that we go up to Crazyville and then we come back down to Normalville. That's not happening. You know, their goal is to transition and reset us into this new world order. You know, where everyone's eating bugs, not owning anything, not traveling, and living in tiny little apartments all crammed into mega cities. It's great. No, it's not, folks. This is why you should continue preparing. Get your houses in order. Take it serious. Get yourself prepared mentally. That's super important. Physically. That means your physical body and the physical world around you. And most especially spiritually, because aside from all the things that I've said today and many more things that I haven't said, the really, really big thing that's going on is this is real spiritual warfare that's going on. There's a real big battle between good and evil that's playing out in the physical world right before our eyes. I mean, that's really what we're seeing. And so it's not just about stocking up on beans and rice and bullets. It's also stocking up on the word in your heart, hiding it there, meditate on it, you know, absorb it in so that it just becomes second nature to you. Because this is the world that we live in. And it was foretold a long time ago. And it was also said that we have to get ready for it, to prepare ourselves. There's lots and lots of scriptures on that. You just have to look them up and read them. Don't lose hope. Don't lose faith, folks. We know how this is going to end. Most of you do. If you read the good book and you believe in the Father, we know how this is going to end. So that's cool. We just have to get ourselves in a physical, mental, and spiritual place now to get us to that end point. Because the wickedness in this world, they're pushing this train downhill as fast as they can. And we're along for the ride for now. So continue to get yourself and your house in order. All right, folks, thank you for watching. I'll catch you in the next video.